Hey folks, well we're back. We're back again with another episode of my Final Fantasy 3 parentheses 6 Let's Play. As always, I am Mike from Team Brothership. There's no John or Paul here today. No Beatles reunion, I'm afraid. Um, that's such a bad joke. I'm tempted to just restart this recording, but I won't because I'm in a hurry. So if for those of you joining us for the first time, this is just kind of a casual, chill Let's Play. I originally started this just doing some tests of some audio equipment I had picked up, and I just had a good time. Final Fantasy 3 is one of my favorite video games of all time, and I'm enjoying just having you with me for a replay of it. It's a fun game. So we're just, I'm not speed running, I'm not doing any kind of low level or like wild challenge. It's just a real chill, relaxing Let's Play of one of my favorite games of all time. I realized after listening to the last episode that I was a little bit mumbly. I have a naturally low voice. It tends to dip into the lower registers. I like to imagine that I've got a bit of ASMR going, but maybe I just sound like a mumbly idiot. So I'm going to try to enunciate a bit more during this one. Anyway, all that housekeeping aside, I'm actually really looking forward to this episode today because we get to do one of my favorite parts of the game. That's right. Mog is staring stone-faced at Sabin right now. If you remember from last time, the party had gotten broken up. Terra, Edgar, and Bannon were in one group. Locke was staying behind to try and slow the Empire's advance. Well, I should say Terra, Edgar, and Bannon were heading to Narsh to try and rally the troops there to try to win them over to the side of the returners in their fight against the Empire, while Locke slowed them down. Meanwhile, this idiot Sabin fell off the raft trying to karate chop an octopus, and now he's just floating away downstream. But yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of the entire game because it's just real weird. So yeah, why don't we just tuck into it? Fel is very charitable. I might momentarily adjust the audio. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad. I take that back. I am adjusting the audio. Okay, so here we are. Just wakes up on the shore. There's a house. Guess I'm gonna go to it. Ooh. Gonna talk to this guy first. I think that Who Are You was supposed to be Sabin. There's some weird parts. Because this game is so fractured with its main characters, there are sometimes moments where the protagonist just kind of shouts things at random people. This guy totally looks like an Imperial soldier, but he's some kind of a merchant. Yeah, whatever that means, buddy. Yeah, let's see the goods. That sounded gross. What do we got here? Plumed hat, which Edgar already has. Sabin already has. Sprint shoes, which I was smart enough to think ahead of time. Some weird edges. Some shurikens. And that sounds pretty dope. Why don't we... Oops. Oh, actually... Drifting into mumble mode again, but I'm trying real hard, folks. Whoops. Yeah, let's buy 40 shurikens. We're going to be throwing a lot of darts at people. Yeah, that's enough for this folks. So yeah, here he is. Here's our buddy Shadow from before, who we remember primarily for being rude and vaguely threatening to us. But we're gonna try again. You know, you can't give up on people, even if they are murderers. So trusting, Sabin. Doma Castle. That's my favorite castle. Taking a step back too, Sabin has been in our party for like 10 minutes at this point, and now he's the protagonist and is fiercely devoted to this cause. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I like about him, is he's... occasionally there'll be cracks about him being a meathead. He never strikes me as stupid. He's just very simple, and I don't mean that in the condescending way. I just mean it's not complicated with Sabin. There's some bad guys that need punching, and he's gonna deliver that punching. This is a real turnabout for Shadow, who, like I said, was threatening us before. Just know that I may take off at any time if I feel like it. He's not kidding, folks. Well, now he's in our party. Look at that, Shadow. Level 10. Alright, what kind of gear does Shadow have? He is packing a knife. A particular kind of knife. Yeah, so Shadow uses primarily ninja weapons, which if you've played the other Final Fantasy games before, they're like kind of short katanas. He can equip most of the same knives that like Locke and some of the other lighter characters can, but he also has his specialized like ninja knives. We'll talk a bit more about Shadow in a moment, but I want to wrap up things here so we can talk while we're moving, because it's boring just staring at a static screen. Here's some fun music. Hey! Hey, yourself. Yes. Yes. Oh, damn it, Sabin. You gotta know how to play along. Yeah, that sounds pretty broken. I think we can sleep in his bed. Oh, gotta love old role-playing games, right? The man who owns the bed is standing directly next to it, and you're just like, nope. Snooze. So this fellow is struggling. Let's see if we can fix his stove. Oh my god. I mean, Sabin is a buff man. Oh yeah, this is another one of those. I think that's supposed to be Sabin talking. Whoa, that was a little fast. What else we got here? These are sort of neat, but you don't really need them right now. Oh, that does remind me. I did want to buy some tonics. They're not incredibly useful at the moment, but sure, that looks good. Sabin, unlike the other two scenarios, Sabin has no magic user in his party, so we are a bit more dependent upon the healing items. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about Shadow while we're marching off to our next destination. I'm going to save scum even more than usual during this playthrough, because Shadow was not kidding. Every once in a while, after a random encounter, he will just straight up leave. Like, gone, see you later, buddy. Since we are playing with a relatively limited party, that's bad. Oh, shoot. Oh, there they are. Yeah, we don't want him ducking out because we kind of need the extra firepower for a little while. So, like I said, I'm going to try to. If he does leave before the end of the scenario, I will be restarting it. Well, reloading from my last save, I mean, because I want him to get to the end. Damn it. Oh, it's been a long time since you've used a Super Nintendo controller, hasn't it, Mike? That's alright, we got this guy chucking ninja stars at people. So, along with his willingness to just wander off in the midst of whatever, Shadow's also kind of a crappy ninja. Oh, jeez Louise, okay. In most Final Fantasy games, the, wowzers. Okay. I may actually... Oh, okay, here's another one of Shadow's little things. So that looked kind of weird, I'm sure. There we go. Well, let me talk a little bit about Shadow. So Shadow is kind of a crappy ninja, unfortunately. And what I mean by that is, in Final Fantasy, most of them anyways, your ninjas have innate... Did I go the wrong way? Where the hell am I going? Oh, boy. Really showing off the skills today. Well, I am playing during a hurricane, so you folks will have to bear... Cripes. Maybe we'll stick to the other stuff. You folks will have to bear with me. Shadow does not have innate dual wield. He just has his regular ninja stars. What? And he doesn't have any of the innate... Wow, okay. I think we may have to give up on the Aura Bolt because I'm just playing like garbage today. He doesn't have any of the innate ninjutsu either, which is kind of a bummer. What he does have, though... Let me heal myself real quick. What he does have, though, is a real mean dog. Shadow has his dog Interceptor with him, which... Alright, I'm gonna try it again. Here we go, folks. Nope. Man. Maybe I'll switch out. Maybe the next time I do this, I'll switch out the Super Nintendo controller, see if this one is a little janky. Alright, well, we'll stick with Pummel for now, just because I know I'm not going to screw that one up. So what happens with Interceptor is, randomly, when Shadow is attacked, his dog Interceptor will counterattack for him. It'll block the hit, so Shadow will take no damage, and Interceptor will attack the enemy, usually dealing a huge amount of damage, enough to pretty often take down any non-boss enemy. So where the heck? No, it's not that way. Which is very convenient. It is random, though, so you're kind of dependent upon the luck of the draw. Yeah, as the game goes along further and you get Shadow in your party on a more permanent basis, I'm not going to give him any good gear right now, but when he's in your party in a more permanent way, oh yeah, you big dummy, just follow the map. Am I supposed to go the... Gosh, I'm really drawing a blank today. I will usually equip him with a Genji glove so he can dual wield, and I'll usually just focus on boosting his physical capabilities. I mean, he's an adequate magic user. Alright, I'm going to try it again. Here we go. Going for that Aura Blasting. He's an adequate magic user when you get access to more spells, but His benefit is really just direct physical damage. And so you want to focus on boosting his attack capabilities, and then those thrown weapons of his get pretty powerful. There's some shurikens are the lowest grade of them, but you can get some other beefier ones later on. I think there's ninja stars and then attack stars you can get towards the end of the game, and those will deal a pretty significant chunk of damage. Here we go. All right. Sorry, everybody, for my genuinely wretched sense of direction. We're getting attacked by stray cats here. We're suplexing birdmen. That should be enough to handle him. Oh, really? Oh, ninja star to the face will do it. Oh, here we go. There's Interceptor again. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge chunk of damage. Shadow gained a level. And I'm going to save my game again in case he just up and wanders off. Yeah, I don't... like I said, it really is random. I don't think there's any particular trigger for it. I mean, the more random encounters you get into, obviously, the more likely it is to happen. Oh, that guy's about to get killed by Interceptor. Yikes. In the grand scheme of things, 900 damage is not that much, but for this point in the game, that is fairly impressive. Ah, here we go. All right. Get in there. Get into that base. Ooh. Too many soldiers. That doesn't sound like Sabin. You should just go charging and wailing on people. More of Kefka's subordinates frightened by him. So we're learning a few important things here, as always, that Kefka is a jackass that everybody hates. Also, that people seem at least somewhat concerned about this General Leo fellow. Polite as always. Yeah, the Imperials themselves dislike Kefka. And they seem to, if not admire, at least respect this General Leo fellow. That's something worth remembering. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, that's something. Well, sucks to be those guys. Off to attack Doma Castle. And here we are. It's Doma Castle. This fellow in black is leading the charge. We'll cut back to that momentarily. I know that was the limited sprite animation of the time. That was supposed to look like they were storming the castle. It looked vaguely pathetic, though. Oh, no. These guys are just a recolor of the merchant sprite. Well, who is this? Black background introduction. Looks like we're getting another permanent party member. This is Cyan, owner of another cool theme song. I'm sorry, I clicked through that one kind of fast. Alright, he's got a plan. We take down the leader and the rest of them will scatter. He's taking these guys with him. Just charging forward heedlessly. Okay, so you're supposed to fight the commander here. You can actually go around and, like, talk to these people. Oop. they're holding back the Imperial troops, but you can talk to these people, and they'll, you can try to fight them off. So Cyan is the samurai class of this game, which, again, functions a little bit differently than in past games. In this game, he has a kind of a charge move, his sword technique. So along with waiting your turn, you also have to then wait to charge up your sword attack. As you can see, it does quite a bit of damage, and unlike my constant blitz screw-ups, you can't really fail it in the same way. It is a little slow, though. All right, we can fight all these guys. Sometimes if I'm bored, I'll clear off all the soldiers just because it's funny, but really you just have to kill this guy here, who is the aptly named leader. The easiest thing to do is actually to charge to level 2, which is a counterattack, and then just sit there and wait for him to hit you, and you'll do a huge amount of damage and usually kill him in one shot. Oops. Don't want to get killed here. No, not much to that guy. And we got a black belt. That's cool. We're actually going to be equipping that on Cyan in short order. Now, they say general. There's really only a couple of generals in the game. I think this is perhaps a mistranslation of some kind of rank. The survivors all haul ass out of there. They're all very proud of themselves. Alright, for whatever reason now, we've switched to Shadow being in the lead. I'm pretty sure Shadow cannot leave during this chunk of the base. Alright. So we'll come back to Cyan. No random encounters here, but there are enemies. We can talk to this dog here. Alright, there's a treasure chest, but it won't open. I believe we want to kick it? I'm trying to remember. One of these, the dog will come in and attack me. The other one, you just get the treasure chest. That was the wrong one. Oh, we gotta clear out these dogs now. I think these are the same types of things that attacked Locke and Celis in the last video. That's a back attack, so Shadow's attack has been weakened. Wow, it's a little bit stronger. I guess these must be a slightly upgraded version then. Alright, let's try it again. Wow, okay, buddy. Calm down. Let's suplex them. Alright, so we gotta just clear our way through this base. I think that's actually a pretty decent treasure chest, though, so I do want to open that. Yeah, it's okay. That's a relic that I think makes you immune to poison. Yeah, so we've got that black belt that Cyan got from that last fight, but I'm actually going to save that until we connect with him. Alright, so we can fight this guy, or we can kind of sneak past him and get into the tent. Oop. He is not paying a lot of attention. No, there's nothing in here anyways. Way to remember that, Mike. It's an interesting sprite over there. It is General Leo, one of the Empire's generals. And fairly direct contrast between him and Kefka. You can see he's actually concerned about people's lives. carrier pigeon. So we see General Leo is a more consummate soldier. Game makes it pretty explicit there that we're supposed to respect General Leo. I think they... yeah. Nope. Okay, well, there you go. The contrast right there. Leo's concerned about wasting lives during the conquest, and Kefka's just waiting for him to leave so he can poison everyone. Leo just walks right past us. So Kefka is planning to, well, Leo was attempting some kind of a siege, but Kefka's just planning on poisoning the water supply, like a real war criminal. Wow. Doesn't even care about the prisoners. Oh, right. And now we're fighting Kefka. So you can actually, I really want to make sure I can pull off that I want to try and pull off an Aura Bolt because I want to show you all something. Hold on a second. He'll wait for us. There is another treasure chest around here somewhere. Not there, I guess. You can see all the Magitek Armor. We're fighting Kefka again. Alright, let me try it this way. Ooh, we brought him to his knees with that one. You can actually take him out. You can KO. I think an Aura Bolt will KO him. As has been revealed, my fighting game skills have crumbled into garbage. You can if you hit him with an Aura Bolt, you'll take him out. It doesn't change the story. He just like collapses to the ground, which is kind of funny. Here we go. Mithril Glove. I think that's another, that's another relic, which I think, yeah, it's a little bit better than that one. Oops. And we're attacked. Trying again. And failing. This guy drops a pretty good helmet. I think he drops a green beret, which is really good. He's casting Berserk on us, which, well, it hit, as you can see, it hit Sabin. Berserk just is a status effect. Whoa! You lose control of your character, and they just attack. Which is a little bit of a problem with Sabin, because he is in the back row, so he's not really going to do a lot of damage. No, if he gets taken out, he gets taken out. These guys shouldn't be much of a threat, though. Just gotta remember to heal him up. Berserk, yeah, there we go, Green Beret. Berserk wears off after the fight, though, so you don't have to worry about that prolonging any of this problem. A couple of tonics. Oh, his hit points are going up quite a bit with those levels. Alright, I think we gotta fight some soldiers here. I don't think we fight Kefka again. So the couple of little funny tidbits. The suplex move actually does more damage against heavier enemies. I don't quite know how it calculates that. Oh wow, it didn't do the counterattack. That's interesting. Finally, cripes. That should be enough to finish him off. Yeah. I don't know quite how it calculates weight, but I know bigger enemies will take more damage from a suplex. I believe Aura Bolt. Oh, well, here we go. This is a genuinely upsetting scene. I remember when I was a kid. Not that I lost sleep over it or anything. But yeah, Kefka is just poisoning the water supply. Clearly in violation of international law. It probably wouldn't have effect this quickly. Yeah, let's just watch this little scene for a minute. Yeah, everyone's just dropping. Yeah. All right. As he slowly waddles, we gotta go find the king now. Everyone's been poisoned. I'm pretty sure that's a Banon sprite, a collapsed Banon sprite. The king's dead. Alright, so now we gotta wander around and find some survivors. There's a couple of treasure chests we can pick. Oh, actually, let me just... wink. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's dead. Everybody's dead except for you and this guy. I've always been kind of interested in this. Like, I guess you and this guy just didn't, or Cyan and this guy just didn't have time to drink any water that morning or what have you. I mean, this guy here never gives any indication that he's poisoned. He's apparently surviving as well. And yeah, you never see him again. He just, I guess, wanders off on his own. Which is a little weird and sad. There's a lot of little weird moments about like that, and yeah, these guys are dead. There's some really good treasure chests here that they kind of use the dead bodies to to block, so we have to come back for them later. Yeah, there's a lot of weird little moments like that in this game. when I talk about Final Fantasy VI, sometimes I will describe it as something of a mess, and I don't mean that negatively. I actually mean that with a great deal of affection. It's, along with some of the programming glitches that I mentioned in one of my last videos, there's just kind of like a delightful mayhem in this game, in that there's all these weird little things that, like, plot lines that don't quite get resolved. You know, there's little blurbs of speech and things that hint at stuff that doesn't happen. There's you know, some monsters that seem to be tying into something else. And I kind of like that about the game. I think when they were making this, they really just threw in everything they could think of, and then just saw what stuck and and tried to clean it up as best they could before they got it out the door. It's a super fun game to play, so I don't really fault them for that. It's just kind of funny. There are a lot of weird little moments like this. Let's walk back to him for a second. Yeah, he's just here. You can just keep talking to him. If you come back to Doma Castle later on in the game, he's gone. But yeah, I mean, unlike everybody else, he doesn't die, so I guess he wasn't poisoned, and he's just kind of there. I guess he wanders off on his own at some point, and you never see him again. Alright, this part's kind of depressing. Yeah, that kind of bugged me when not bugged, upset me, I suppose would be the appropriate word, when I was a kid. I mean, this is like a little dead kid. Got poisoned by Kefka. I like how Cyan says "dear me" too. There's kind of a running gag in the game that he speaks very formally. I'm guessing that's a little bit more in this translation. They made it so he kind of speaks a little bit archaically. Japanese, the language Japanese has a few more ways of showing deference and speaking formally just baked into it, so I would assume that it's a little bit more pronounced in that version, but I like how even in this moment of, you know, this man has literally lost everything, he still is just speaking very formally. Yeah, and he just charges in and attacks the base all by himself. If you run in between, you get knocked out of the way, which is kind of funny. You can't talk to these guys, but you can talk to Cyan. So yeah, you're just jumping in to help out with him. Ugh. I gotta do a few practice fights after this one to just warm up my aura bolt. So you're just wildly brawling with Imperial troops. And Cyan's kind of positioned in front of you. You don't control him during this fight. He's just kind of... What the hell? Ugh. It's going to be a long game if I can't get Sabin to do his blitzes correctly. You don't get any experience points for these fights either. Oops, what am I doing? Yeah, I think next time I'm going to swap out this controller to see if... the big guy's the cadet, apparently. Oh, there we go. There we go. You don't get any experience points for those fights for some reason. Don't worry, Shadow's not leaving, he's just wandering over there. Weird little buddy cop kind of thing going on. Slaughtering these people by trampling them. So now for another time in this game, we actually get access to Magitek Armor, which is kind of cool. First, I'm going to jump in here and just see if I can tweak any of Cyan's equipment a little bit. So the neat thing about this is, yeah, we've got access to all the Magitek again, so we can use their free heals, which are nice. Gotta conserve those resources. Somehow, even though this guy ambushed us, we got the pincer move on him. I'm not gonna complain. Take out the Magitek Armor first, since that's the stronger enemy. So the two things about Cyan are that he speaks very formally and that he does not like machines, which we learn very quickly in this game. Everyone teases him for how he talks. Oh, that's kind of funny. I didn't notice if the other one did that too. I've actually never done that before. I didn't realize you could go back and fight those guys. Doesn't really matter which beam you use. They're all pretty destructive. We got potions out of that, though. Yeah, it's kind of funny. There's like the abandoned Magitek vehicle after you defeat them. Even though these guys have, I would assume, trained in using these machines, for some reason we're always able to get the drop on them. Poor initiative. I guess they are a little weaker to bolt, as you can see. Alright, there's our trio. The three amigos. I'm going to save again, because this is often where Shadow will wander away. And I really, really want to have him around for the next part. You don't have to go too far to get to it, but okay. Ghosts. I love this music. This kind of like spooky theme. Throwing ninja stars at ghosts. So we're in like a haunted forest, and I love this like side view that you get. Early on in the game, they give you some of these just like free heal spots, I think, because they know you don't have any healing magic and your resources are probably a little stretched a little thin. So let's talk a little bit about Cyan. He's got pretty good attack abilities. I'm mumbling. Yeah, his stats are pretty decent. He's got a decent attack. He can equip a lot of the heavier armor. He's also the only character in the game that can use these katana-type swords, or can use them without... just naturally, anyways. He can use them naturally. So he's a pretty good fighter. And early on in the game, his dispatch ability is... I think this is where we want to go... Yes, look at that in the distance. That's so cool. All right, Shadow, don't run away. We've got one fight left to get through. Early on in the game, his dispatch ability is really good. It does a real beefy attack. It'll usually take out most generic enemies in one shot. But as the game goes further and everybody starts getting stronger, it does comparatively less damage. And you start having to resort to some of his higher charge abilities, and that's when you start running into some problems. All right, hold on one second. That's when you start, excuse me, running into some problems because it takes so long for him to get a shot off. And, you know, you'll have your magic users just blasting high-level spells. Sabin, allegedly, I know, using high-end blitzes. Like, you'll have all this crazy stuff that you're doing, and then you're just sitting there waiting while Sabin charges up his sword attack. So he starts to lose effectiveness a little bit. That's super cool. You see that in the background, the train. Like I said, this is one of my favorite parts of the game. All right, we're boarding this mysterious train. Cyan's had some thoughts. Shadow doesn't care. Yeah, Shadow essentially has no speech during this entire arc because for all the game knows he could have wandered off already, so they can't really have any parts of the cutscene designed around him. This train's haunted. Okay. I'll let them speak for themselves. They never really explain how you just managed to... how you managed to stumble onto this train. Oh, I love this music too. It's so cool. Oops. Still goings. I love these. They're like zombies. Yeah, I love the music on the Phantom train. Alright, I'm gonna try it. Oh yeah, Cyan just did a counterattack, so that's why I was saving that black belt for him. The black belt is a relic that allows you to do counterattacks. Hey, save point. And Cyan's pretty sturdy, so... I think that's supposed to be Conductor. Impresario, that doesn't quite fit. Let me know in the comments if I read too fast. I tend to read very quickly, but I'm trying to leave the text blocks on screen for a little while so the rest of you can see. No need for schedules. Yeah, there it is. He speaks formally and he's afraid of machines. Okay, this fellow wandering around is a ghost. Sure, why not? There you go. There he is. This random ghost just joins your party. So, as we're wandering the Phantom Train, a few things will happen. You know, there'll be random encounters. There's a few little puzzles, and we'll also see these little ghost guys wandering around. Most of them, if you try to interact with them, will just attack you. There's a few merchants mixed in, so okay, we will actually probably want to talk to one or two of them because I want to see if I can get some more of those ninja stars, so I don't run out. But and occasionally they will ask to join your party. You can't change their equipment. They have no name. They have no skills or anything. Actually, we can look at their equipment. A relic ring. Relic ring gives you the undead status effect, which means healing items and spells harm you, and things that would kill you, like the death spell, actually heal you. So this guy is undead. They're pretty garbage in combat, but they do have one move called, I think it's Possess, which is a one-hit kill against every enemy on this train. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, like I said, most of them will just attack you for talking to them, but I want to see if I can get somebody who will sell me ninja stars. There we go. That was quick. Alright. Excellent. Let's grab... maybe not quite that many. Sure. Another 50. That's pretty good. A couple more of these, too. And this actually... I might be the first guy that sold potions. We're okay with those. Ugh. Alright, random encounters. Everything on this train is undead, so... oh, you... there he is, Possess. It's a one-hit kill, but it will also kill the... oh, jeez. Let me try again. It will also kill the ghost and permanently remove him from my party. I'd like to keep him around for a little while longer. Ugh, get out of the way. It's good to have the ghost around, if for no other reason than he will eat some of our some of the damage that we would otherwise sustain. Plus, it's just kind of funny. I like having some of the weirdo characters in the party for a little while. As you can tell, he didn't get a permanent introduction or anything, so he ain't sticking around for a while. Oh, this guy's selling stuff too. And it's all the same crap. Don't know where to go here. I'm just going to keep trying to do that aura bolt again until I get there. Brutal. Once upon a time, I could do these flawlessly. Some of these boss fights are going to get pretty friggin' rough if I can't pull that off. Well, I'm just going to keep at it till I remember that rhythm. Yeah, but I love this part of the game. It's so just like weird and not scary. I mean, it's definitely not scary, but there we go. All right, maybe I was just doing it too slow. So Shadow, in keeping with the game's... Nope, that didn't work. In keeping with the theme of this area, Shadow can't leave your party during this particular stretch of the game while you're on the Phantom Train. He can't get booted. All right. It's vaguely coming back to me. Yeah, see, this Aura Bolt, I think, is a somewhat holy elemental attack. So it does a lot of damage to the ghosts. This has no real bearing. This whole area has no real bearing on like the overall plot or anything like that. It's just such a like cool, weird little aside. Even the fight on top of the train looks neat. Let me heal up Shadow a little bit. Took a little bit of damage there. You can, interestingly enough, you can heal the ghost out of battle, but if you try to use a potion or something on him during a fight, it will absolutely harm him and probably kill him. I love how none of the characters are scared. They're just kind of irritated by the ghosts. Hey, it worked. Can we go back here? I'm trying to remember. No. Even the ghost is scared. So do those ghosts then just never get to the afterlife? They're just trapped in this perpetual limbo because we detach the cars. Hey, another save point. Just in time. Ah. I'll learn someday. Ew. That's a crummy spell. That halves your hit points. Oh, I wasn't even thinking he cast Drain on the ghost, and so that actually killed him and healed the ghost. A very oh, and then we just healed the ghost ourselves. A very clear demonstration of what I was talking about earlier, how the ghosts are undead. There we go. I'm pretty sure I've got enough shurikens to get through this whole place. Yeah, it sucks if you lose Shadow before you get on the Phantom Train, because then you're just like a person down for this whole area, which is really drags things out, especially if you're like me and you can't remember how to do these damn blitz attacks. But having Shadow, you can get other ghosts, so you can actually have Sabin and Cyan and 2 ghosts. But as you can see with the ghost, as you can see, the ghosts are kind of rubbish, so having Shadow makes a big difference. Cyan is suspicious of the ghost food. No need to worry, though. Ghost food is safe. This isn't that long of an area. Just long enough to be fun. Yeah, that's another nice thing about Final Fantasy 3/6 is it never really wears out its welcome. By the time you're getting sick of some of the things that you're doing, it's usually time to move on to something else anyways. Oh. Speaking of random, so this is Siegfried. Yeah, there's not much to this guy. Get a green cherry and 1 gold piece. So Siegfried is another one of those things that I talked about where like the game's kind of a mess. He shows up a few more times and he never really makes any sense. Not that, and that's not to say, I mean, there is a tradition in Japanese humor of kind of non sequiturs, so it could just be that, but judging from the context that he appears elsewhere in the game, it seems like there was supposed to be some larger part for him to play, and it just, I don't know, got cut or something. But yeah, he's kind of a joke villain. There we go. It's bad if you can't pull these off because they do so much more damage than everything else at this point in the game. There is a... There he is again. There is a fairly dangerous trap treasure chest. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, may or may not get obliterated by this guy, but we'll find out. That's not good. Oh, that's even worse. Oh, come on. I wasn't even trying to do the aura bolt on that one. I could probably use the ghost to just do the dispatch attack and finish him off, but... Alright. Oh, that's actually kind of useful, so... pop that onto... I'm gonna revive poor dead Shadow. I think one of these is a... sword. Well, I think Shadow leaves his stuff behind when he does eventually leave the party. If he doesn't and he takes the sniper sight with him, I don't really care. Well, I guess we're almost done, because there goes the ghost. He's had enough of our shenanigans. Yeah, we're almost at the end of the Phantom Train. My favorite parts of the game, and it's almost over. Alright, I think I want to do this, and this, and then heal up. Now the train itself is speaking to us. And here we go. We're getting attacked by a train. Evil Toot. Ooh, that's actually... okay. Well, you know what this means, then. Here it goes. That's right, we're suplexing a train. Ugh. Yeah, this guy's... So we've got a minute to finish this boss fight, which is going to be a real problem if I can't pull these blitz attacks off. There we go, alright. That should deal a decent chunk of damage. Not as much as I thought. Wow, we're gonna die here. Wow, that was a lot more of a nail biter than it usually is. Oh well. Well, you got to see me suplex a train. Those are some rough status effects. Alright, we beat the train enough that he's letting us, or she, I guess, it is letting us go. Again, if you think about this in context and you think about like the other role-playing games that were available on the Super Nintendo when this came out, in the US anyways, nothing like this had shown up in any of them. Alright. Sabin's right. Let's get the hell out of here. But what's this? This is the people that actually are leaving. Yeah, so that's his son and his wife are over there. Well, that's that. Yeah, a genuinely affecting scene. I feel like you think about this poor guy's just lost his whole family, all of his friends. Those were all the people that you saw boarding the train were all the people that Kefka had poisoned. So it's sad. Kind of a melancholy moment. Ooh, 2 whole tents. Well, that's good because we got really jacked up by that phantom train. So I'm gonna use one of them right now. Oh, one little observation that is interesting. Whenever you use a tent, depending upon who is in the front when you use the tent, the little decoration at the top of the tent is different, which is kind of funny. For Edgar and for Sabin, it's a little crown because they are royalty. I thought that's kind of a cute thing. Okay, so a little bit further to go before... Hey, we did it. We actually made it all the way to the ending point without losing Shadow. Oh, I forgot to unequip his relics, but I don't care if he takes the sniper sight with him. Yeah, Shadow won't continue past this point, so we did it. We made it all the way to the end of his spot without him departing. Jump? Oh, why not? Actually, what's the health situation? There's actually a boss fight on the way down, and I don't think he didn't learn. Sabin, in the not-too-distant future, learns a very useful blitz attack, but I don't have it yet. It's not bad enough that we're plummeting down a waterfall. Oops. And now we have to fight monsters on the way down. That's what they don't tell you about all those people that went over Niagara Falls in the barrels. It's not the fall that killed them. It's the murderous fish that leapt out of the falls to assault them. Nice. They would have made that scene in the movie The Fugitive very different, too. Enough with the fish. I think this is the last batch, and then there's the big one. Nope. Yeah, that black belt makes a real difference when Cyan has that. There we go. All right. This guy packs something of a wallop, so hopefully I can pull these aura bolts off. Yay! I have manual dexterity. Oh, doesn't even do that much. No. Compared to that phantom train, I guess that wasn't too much to worry about. They're cheering, but they are still plummeting down this waterfall. You know, I believe it's 30 stories, so like, so what would that be, like 300 feet or something like that? If you fall further than that, it's even if you hit water, it's the same as hitting concrete, like the surface tension. So, yeah, I think we were falling for long enough that we probably would have just died anyways. What is this? Strange child. Oh boy. Black background, we know what that means. It's a feral child, like Gao. Like that kid from The Road Warrior. Except he doesn't have sweet boomerangs that he uses to knock off people's heads and hands. Sabin's frightening to children with his girth and excessive body hair. So we are now on the Veldt, which has its own fun little music. The Veldt is a weird place. It's a part of the map where the random encounters, let's see, maybe we'll, yeah, see, the random encounters are actually, like, can be drawn from any of the pool of enemies that you've previously encountered in the game. You don't get any experience points for them, but they will drop the same amount of money and the same kinds of items that they would drop under normal circumstances. And there's actually even a few bosses that will show up here. It's a weird little area, and it's all kind of based around the statistics of that kid that you just saw, which once we, as I'm sure you've gathered from the black background, we will be recruiting him shortly. So as soon as we do that, I'll talk a little bit more about his skill set, because he's kind of a weird one. But we have to get to this town first, because there's something that I need to get here. Agreed. War. Yeah, we noticed. So we can pay to stay at the inn like chumps, or we can have a free nap in the back of the relic shop, I think. Yeah, this guy talks about it. how there's the monsters that you run into in the Veldt are drawn from pretty much every place else. Alright, let's buy some gear. I think this is... oh yeah, the next... Sabin's next weapon, not that it really matters, and Cyan's next weapon. Actually, before we do that, let's get some defensive gear too. A new helmet for Cyan. Might actually be worth buying some better gear for some of these other characters too, but I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to. So this is Mobliz, the town on the Veldt, town of hunters. A very concerned hunter. So this guy gives an important hint. So our next step to progress in the game, we need to recruit that kid that we saw earlier, but he is a little reluctant. So what we need are these dried meats. We need a couple of these. They're actually not terrible healing items. They're kind of a middle ground between tonics and potions, so we're only really going to need one, but it can't hurt to grab a few more. Actually, could probably sell some of this junk too, but we'll wait until everybody's gathered back together so we know what we need. Okay. We need to get to the Serpent's Trench. It's an underground waterway that runs basically between Mobile or the Veldt and Narsh. So, unsurprisingly, well, not Narsh, but that other town over there, Nikea. I think that's where I bought all my furniture. There's the clock elixir. Oh yeah, there's something. Isn't there something I can do here? Hold on a second. Don't push me. I got this. You know what? Actually, I think I can't do it till later. Oh no, we're trapped forever. I think I can't do that until a little bit later. Well, we'll deal with that later then. Oh, no, we can do this. Hold on. Wait for it. So he's an Imperial deserter. And he misses his girlfriend. I think you can now send a letter on his behalf. Let me go talk to the postman. All right, yeah, you can send a letter for him. Now I think if we talk to him, there's like a way you can participate in the correspondence. But I don't know if I have to leave the town and come back a couple times. Oh, teen love. These folks are kind of important for later, much later. Garbage. Free bet up here, though. Not going to be spending money at the end like a chump. Oh, that totally reminds me. I know I was making some jokes during the last session about how there were like secret passages and I didn't quite remember where things are, but I didn't think they were that important. Yeah, I definitely missed like one or two really useful items. Which, well, we'll go back and get those later, but not right now. Let me see if I can... get another letter for... Yes, there we go. Well, I don't even think you get anything for this, but it's like it's just a nice thing to do. Yep, we're gonna send a record. Or maybe it's when that guy drops off letters. There's a couple of these that you can send back and forth. So his girlfriend lives in one of the, in Miranda, one of the occupied towns that's held by the Empire. And so we sent her the record. Let's see. Well, maybe we go to sleep. It is impressively fast postage, I do admit. Nope. Maybe we gotta come back later. Can I say anything? I try not to think too hard about the geography in this game because these towns are extremely isolated. Alright, if there's nothing here now, we'll just come back and do it later. Nope. Alright, we'll do it later then. We might have to go talk to Lola first when we finally get access to Miranda. Okay, well, next on the docket, we gotta get that kid. Oh, come on. Didn't I just fight these guys? Oh. I have found in general that if you, at least in this version of the game, if you are fighting enemies regularly, and then you go to the Veldt, those will often be like the first one or two encounters that you have. So... yeah, so you never get experience for the Veldt encounters. I don't know if that's because they're enemies that you've already fought before, or... oh, remember these guys. Very first enemies. Here we go. Okay. So, now, you can wallop this kid if you want, which is kind of a jerk thing to do, or you can throw one of these at him. Hey, look at him go. He's so excited. He's awestruck by our generosity. Now Sabin's brawling with a child. Yeah, good question. This is about the extent of Gao's impact on the story. Oh boy. Here's another one of those weird little things. Usually during all of these interludes, they have Mog explain how things work, but for whatever reason, they have this little imp Kappa guy. Yeah, and he's pretty much explaining how Gao works. Gao's kind of a heavily modified version of the Berserker class. Yeah, this imp guy, this is the only place that he ever shows up, which is kind of bizarre. And there he is. He joined our party. Let's put some junk on him. I'm not going to bother buying him other equipment. So, in summary, I'll show you. When you're fighting on the Veldt, Gao will have a specific, he has this leap command. Ugh. I'm gonna practice this after I end this. So now he leaves your party. You gotta go into some other fights. No, more than this fight, definitely. Oh wow, that was that guy took more damage than I was expecting. We need to get into a regular battle. Okay. These guys are surprisingly sturdy. These are fairly early game enemies. Okay, so now we just don't attack him for a few minutes. If you hit him, he actually runs away. So he's back now, and he learned the abilities of the monsters that he jumped on and the ones that he came back with. So we can go into his skill set and look under Rage, and we see he's got all these different abilities learned. He can basically learn the skill set of any enemy in the game. However, when he uses them, he basically goes berserk, and he just will randomly use some of their abilities. So for some monsters, that's really, really useful. For some, that's hugely problematic. You know, you don't want to have him using the abilities of, like, the bomb monster or something that's going to, like, blow itself up. Yeah, a lot of people really like using Gao, and a lot of people, there's some ways you can kind of game. Oh, I wanted to check one. There's some ways you can kind of game the system with him to do some really crazy stuff, and especially there's some glitches in this game that you can really play up, and he's one of the 2 party members that you can really do the most with that. That being said, there's so many easier ways to do ridiculous amounts of damage and to really like boost your skills and abilities in this game. It feels unnecessary. Yeah, Gao is one of those characters that he just feels more complicated than he's really worth. And we've been going a little bit long today, so I'd like to get to the end. We're almost at the end of Sabin's little arc. I'd like to do that before we hang up or end for the day. All right, I know where it is, but I think you get some little extra scenes depending on where you go. Whew. I think he actually like takes some money from you at some point if you screw up. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Yeah, you get some little scenes depending upon what you where you go. Is there another one? That might be it. What's everybody's stats looking like? Pretty good. There we go. That's what it is. It's a diving suit. Alright, here we go. Time to go through the Serpent's Trench. We won't see our friends again, even though Sabin only knew them for like 10 minutes. And Cyan and Gao have never met these people. Not even any hesitation there. So this is the second of the 2 kind of on rails water areas in the game. And of course, I've forgotten, there's a few secret paths that you can take to get some good items, and as always, I have forgotten which way to go. You know, I used to know this game so damn well, but it's been a couple of years since I've replayed it. I guess it just really drains your your knowledge when it's been a little while. I used to have this whole game totally memorized, but c'est la vie. It'll come back to me. We will, well, maybe not on camera, but we will be coming back to this place at some point, so if I miss them the first time, I can get them the second time. Well, pretty sure it's the same way either time, so if I goofed up, we'll just go the other way next time. But yeah, kind of like the that river sequence from earlier. The tricky part about this is that you can't heal. You have to heal mid-battle because you can't go into the menus while you are in the water like this. Maybe this is it. Yes. Okay. Good. I don't think there are... Excellent. I don't think there are random encounters in here either, and I'm going to take a moment to heal my team. I think it's the same thing. The right way is the right way, I think. Black belt pays for itself. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, god damn it. Okay, that was pretty bad. I'm really hoping I did pick the right way this time so we can get into a cave where I can revive him. These guys are dropping a lot of X potions. Yeah, that's looking good. Excellent. Alright. That was kind of a surprise, actually. Didn't think they'd be able to take me out with one shot like that, but it is the early game. These things do happen. I think we gotta like loop around here. Oh yeah, it's like a little puzzle here. We gotta drop the water level here. And I think we drop down and get a treasure chest. I like that little, you can kind of see the edge of the water creeping in through there. Nice, that's a good helmet. Actually, you know, I might actually even put that on Gao. This, Cyan already has a higher defense. Green berets are good helmets for the early part of the game. And we're almost done at this point. Like the river, it's kind of... it's shorter than you'd think. Yeah, it's funny, you know, when I was a kid, this whole chunk of the game seems so long when we burned through it in, like, just about an hour, I think. Waking up, winding up passed out down on the docks. You've all been there. Alright, let's go grab some free stuff. We're in IKEA. Get some inexpensive furniture. Alright, spoilers. So everyone keeps talking about this crazy old man, that guy that we met that thought we were the clock repair merchant or the furnace repairman or whatever. And oh, he went crazy when his wife died and he threw his son away. And we just happened to find this feral teenager on the veldt. Must be a coincidence. Yeah, that guy was Gao's father. I think this woman's potentially supposed to have been a prostitute. Lecturing this horny woman. Alright. So we're just about done. We're just gonna snag up some resources, then we'll wrap up for the evening. You bet, kid. Well, I'm not going to buy from you because you're selling garbage. So Nike is kind of the commerce town. I think there's a few little items around here somewhere. Or not. The big thing is we want to make sure we've got good equipment for a few of our other characters. Did they unequip everybody? No. Alright, I'm gonna buy one more of these iron helmets. Just in case. And actually another suit of iron armor too. We're probably gonna need them in a little bit. Well, I guess we're not going north. Hey, another clock. You know what that means. How's our stats look? Sure, why not? Free, well, not free, but relatively inexpensive, full heal. I could have sworn there were some items here, but I could be mistaken. There's the Chocobo stable that I never use. Alright, we're just going to drop a heal here. And then we're going to head for home. Alright, we're heading to South Figaro. Although I'm pretty sure that town is occupied, so we'll probably have to, like, jump off partway or something. I hope so too, even though I've never met these people and you haven't even described them. Alright. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up here. There's not a save point right at this moment, but I'm pretty sure I can save with the SNES Mini's dobuilt-in capabilities. So, all right. Well, this, like I said, was one of my favorite parts of the game with the Ghost Train and the Doma Castle battles. So we will pick up here next time. I hope you've been having fun with this and enjoying my nonsense narration. So until then, I've been Mike, and I will see you later. Have a great week, everybody.